Welcome to Ouch. Was that a ghost? This podcast may contain graphic material, which some listeners may find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised.
Help me.
Now that we covered that, here's your host, Liz.
Welcome back to Ouch Was That a Ghost with Liz. And today I have the amazing Joe from Film Joe podcast joining me again.
Hi, everyone. Well, thank you for that amazing intro. Thank you. No, it's great to be back as always.
Yeah, and thanks to you covering The Terrifier, my son's making me watch that tonight.
Ooh.
I heard it makes people vomit in the theaters.
Oh, man. Well, I'm so jealous because this is your first time. I wish it were my first time. I've seen these Terrifier 1 and 2 quite a few times already. You're in for a treat. Now, if you have a weak stomach, yeah, it'll definitely encourage you to regurgitate your breakfast.
So no popcorn during watching this one?
Well, popcorn maybe. Cold cuts, no.
Ah, come on. It's not cannibalism, you said, though, right? Because those are,
No.
I can't do cannibalism and I can't do maggots. What was that movie? The Ghost Ship, I think, when they had the can of beans and it all like turned into maggots and I couldn't eat beans for like a year.
No maggots here. Just a lot of carnage and dismemberment. You know, what I love about it is that, I mean, again, if you haven't seen it, you're in for a treat, especially if you're a fan of the practical special effects, which is something almost of a lost art. And the majority, I say the bulk, maybe 98, 99% of this is all practical effects.
I'm really stupid. What does that mean?
Well, versus computer-generated images, CGI.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's all foam, latex, rubber, and fake blood, and all that good, glorious stuff.
Ketchup packets taped to people's faces.
Yeah, it's amazing. The effects in this are top shelf. And I think what sets this one apart from other quote unquote horror films of this current era is that, for example, you got a shot of somebody getting a meat cleaver to the face. So you got the cleaver coming down, it's just about to hit the face, and all you hear is a crack as you get the camera hitting another angle. So you kind of go away from it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Here, no, the camera lets you witness the whole horrific experience. And it's fantastic.
Okay.
You're sitting there like, I don't know if that exactly is my...
You're so enthusiastic about these hatchets to the head.
Oh, God, you know what? I fucking love this stuff. I mean, on film, of course. I'm not some raging psychotic that, No, I mean, I just love the artistry of practical, physical special effects. And, I'm not a hater 100% of CGI, but I don't love it either. I think it should be used to augment films, and especially in certain aspects, but not take over and just do. It's almost a lazy approach to special effects in film. Yeah, and it just kind of turns me off overall. I mean, I was recently speaking to this really awesome podcaster, Sean O'Connor, over at Sinful Cuts, and we were discussing CGI versus special effects, and he came up with a great quote that he heard somewhere, which is, CGI looks real, but feels fake. Real, like practical effects, look fake, but feel real. And I think that was the essence of, say, some of the glorious horror films of the 1980s. It still holds true. It really does. But yeah, enough of, me ranting on about this fantastic film about Terrifier 3, which you definitely got to let me know what you thought, because you're going to watch the first two, you said, right?
Yeah, well, at least the first one, and then we'll go from there. We'll see.
No. You got to do the whole experience. You got to go for it. You just watch both of them. You'll love them.
We'll see.
I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, how squeamish are you?
It's really only cannibalism gets me. And if it's like you're eating something and it turns into bugs as you're eating it, those are the two things in films that I'm like, oh. Like, because I can't imagine when they were, again, with that bean scene, they were eating like half of the can of beans and it all turned into maggots, just thinking of swallowing bugs.
Then you're fine. You have nothing to worry about.
Okay.
You still sound kind of doubtful, but no, there's none of that in here. In fact, that kind of reminds me of a film back in the 80s, which could be considered the first ever found footage horror film. It's a film called Cannibal Holocaust. Now, if you have not heard of it or seen it, this is, for you specifically, not your film. It's about a documentary film crew that goes to this uncharted island with, the natives, and they're like, they know nothing about modern technology, the modern world. And basically they become, they get invited to lunch as the main course. And, they're being hunted down and killed and eaten. And it's pretty goddamn horrific. I can't even watch it. It's too much.
Why would they make that? That's such an 80s, 90s thing 80s, not even 90s. I remember bringing my little brother to Blockbuster Videos, and he went to go rent, I forget what it was, Power Rangers or something, but he swapped out the VHS for this horrible movie I walked into that he was watching with his friend. It was, I can't remember the name of it, but they had a monkey in the middle of the table, and they had his skull open, and they were eating his brains.
Oh, The Faces of Death.
Yes. Why is this even in a movie store? And why would anybody want to watch this?
Yeah, there was actually like 3 or 4 of those. And
why?
They're horrible. I saw the first one because, I remember when it became all the rage. Everybody was talking about it. And I'm like, okay, so.
I was going to say, who's the audience? But it's you.
It was me. I'm guilty as but you know what? It was even too much for me. I was maybe 15, 16, and I was the resident movie expert in the house. So they would always turn to me, hey, what do you want? What should we watch? I want to watch a horror movie, or I want to watch action. So they would ask me, and I would point them in the right direction. So I had heard about Faces of Death, and I told them, well, this one, it's a lot of buzz behind it. It's pretty horrible. We were, I'd have to say, 10 minutes in, and we had to shut it off. It was just too much. Because it's tries to pass itself off as a documentary, looking at death and, analyzing, coming face to face with death and our own mortality. No, it was just a cheap piece of shit exploitation film to show gory stuff. And that's all it was. So it was garbage. And they claimed it was real, but obviously it's not, because legally, I think internationally, you are not allowed to portray or show actual death or somebody being killed. That's called a snuff film. So yeah, that definitely, not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that does have some cannibalism in it as well. So
I only saw the 2 seconds before I ran in and shut it off and brought it back to Blockbuster. I don't even think I rewound it. I think I paid the fee. Yep,
you
I'm that old.
Them. Yeah. I like good horror, but it's got to have some sort of substance to it. It has to have something like the Terrifier films, as I was discussing with Daisy on the most recent episode, is that Terrifier, without the character of Art the Clown, and you'll find out, when you watch, especially the first one, he's a great character. He, doesn't speak. He's a mime clown that kills people, and really well performed, and will make you laugh, actually. Without that, oh, look, he decapitated that poor woman. Right?
Mimes creep a lot of people out. Clowns do. So, I guess they got their target audience that would want to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, but without that element, these movies would be just garbage. There's nothing to them. And so it's really worth a watch. So, I hope you enjoy it, and good luck.
Thanks. Good luck. Yeah, but I am so excited. Thank you for coming on and telling this story. I didn't look into it at all. I know you said Taured and Timeslips.
Yeah.
Timeslips are, but I know nothing about Taured at all.
It's the man from Taured. And it's a really cool story that, a lot of people led a lot of people to speculate on parallel universes, time travel, or things along that nature. And so this case, supposedly, it occurred back in 1954. And a man arrives at the Haneda Airport in Tokyo, Japan on a business trip. Normal day, nothing new, just no big deal, the average day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when he's asked to show his passport to the officials, they took a look at the passport. It looked like a normal passport. Nothing extraordinary about it. When they looked at the country of origin, it said Taured. And so they were kind of puzzled because this country doesn't exist. So what do they have there? A time traveler? Interdimensional being? A grifter trying to sneak into the country illegally? What the hell do they have? That's what the story is basically about.
Was there ever a Taured? Oh, that was never a town.
We'll see. We'll get there.
Okay. All right.
So it was July of 1954, and this average-looking dude, he walks into the airport, and, he claims he's on a business trip, one that he made on several occasions. And so to him, it was a normal thing. And so he hands over his passport. So they look at it, and, it's kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? Again, the passport looked normal, legit, except for the detail of the country of origin, which was Taured. So this does not exist. It doesn't exist anywhere on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
They confront him. They're like, sir, what is this? This country doesn't exist. And he insists. He goes, no, Taured exists. It has existed for at least, 1,000 years. And so they took him in for questioning in the back room, the infamous airport back room. And so they talked to him and they tried to get this information out of him. Where is he really from? He continues to stick with his story that he is from Taured. So they're like, okay, fine. You're from Taured? Here's a map. Where is it? And a puzzled look comes across his face as he's trying to find his country. And so finally he goes, well, it should be right here. And he's pointing between the countries of France and Spain. It should be there. Like, well, obviously it's not because it doesn't exist, buddy. So they held on to him for a while. And kept asking him, pressing him. And allegedly, he even produced currency from the country, an ID with the name of the country on it, even the name of the company he worked for. And all of this, obviously, it didn't check out. So being that this is a potentially illegal or suspicious, suspicious nature and illegal, the man, after vigorous questioning, they put him into custody in the nearest hotel. With 2 guards placed right outside of his door. So they're going to, hold him overnight, bring in some more authorities, higher ups, and further the questioning because, this could be a national threat. They don't know what the hell is going on.
I wonder what their actual protocols were back then in the 50s.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they were as stringent, obviously, as they are now post 9/11.
Oh. Yeah.
But I'm sure, something outrageous like that would have definitely raised their flags and, so they held him. So they leave him in the room, 2 guards outside. The next day, they arrive. They open the door, look for him. The guy's gone. He vanished. His suitcase, his clothing, himself. I know what you're thinking. The guy could have, jumped out the window.
Yeah.
Or something. There were several floors up, no balcony, and no fire escape. And the guards never left their post all night.
And there's no ceiling things that he could have gotten in or vents?
Nothing. They went on ahead and combed the entire hotel. They interviewed everybody in the hotel. And their conclusion, this guy just simply vanished into thin air. So what happened? That's the question. So this story has been floating around for the last, 1960, going for 54, 50, my math sucks, but a long time. I tell stories, I write stuff, I talk about
2 + 2, long time.
A long time. I talk about movies, I know about who produced what, but ask me what 2 + 2 is, and I'm a virtual idiot. So, what are we talking about here? Could have been an interdimensional traveler, or accidentally he slipped through a dimension, a time traveler or something.
Now, did law enforcement hold on to any of the currency or IDs or passports or anything?
Apparently not. According to the story, none of that is mentioned, but, once to assume maybe they just packed it up and put it in the room with him. This is where it gets a little iffy and kind of sketchy. If you do research online, you do find pictures of his passport and when he's taken into custody. But beyond that, it's kind of foggy. So the question of a parallel universe.
Ooh.
Could this have been proof of a parallel universe? That, are you familiar with the CERN experiment back in 2012?
I am. I covered that on it wasn't doppelgangers. It was the Mandela effect. I think I talked about the CERN machine and stuff. I didn't think that was real.
Oh yeah, it actually happened.
I saw it on like TikTok and then I went down this rabbit hole and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is a real thing. It sounds like it's from The Flash."
Yeah, and this occurred back in 2012, the Hadron Collider, and creating the God particle and all this stuff. And I don't know if you remember, there was all this talk about this is going to end all. I mean, you got this Hadron Collider doing this shit in 2012. Combine that with the Incas saying we're all going to go poof in 2012 was just too coincidental. And so there is a theory out there that does say that the world did end in 2012, and that what happened was this pulled us into a parallel universe, our consciousness and ourselves into the parallel world. Now, if you've seen a lot of these parallel universe movies or TV shows where they pop into like another Earth, you got some crazy scenarios like, okay, we didn't win World War II and the Nazis now run the United States and so forth, some extreme differences. So why such subtle differences? Well, again, I'm not a scientist. I'm not an astrophysicist, nothing close to it. But when it comes to parallel universes, they're lined up one next to another. So the one next to the current, like we're here in the, Earth 2, let's call it, it's so close to us, it's going to be very similar. Now, Earth 3 is going to be a little similar to Earth 2, but now you got a little bit more difference between Earth 3 and Earth 1, and you just go down the road. So by the time you get to Earth 12, it's a hugely different world than Earth 1, according to these theories. So this Hadron Collider in 2012, when they did the experiment, the thing is that it sucked us in, the world did end, it exploded, and we just transferred over to Earth 2. And that's where you get the Mandela effect. I mean, you go, oh, wow, did the monkey in, Curious George, did he have a tail? And Bernstein bears,
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
I hate that Bernstein Bear one because who remembers how to spell it 5 years old? Like, oh my gosh, I misspelled this.
Right. I mean, yeah, I'm an adult now. I still have problems with I before E except after C or C after...
Words like neighbor and way.
Right, exactly.
But I do remember Ed McMahon coming with the check.
Yeah. Now, I kind of attribute the Mandela effect to what we remember it as. And based on, it's like, you see, like, okay, let's go with Queen. We are the champions. We could have seen a live performance where at the end of the song, he says, of the world. Mm-hmm. But that's not on the record. So you associate, you kind of make that connection that, no, the song says that at the end. Oh, maybe you heard somebody sing it this way and you make that connection.
Yeah, that's what, but I think that plus like social reinforcement by other people saying it over and over again, it kind of morphs your memory.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you hear it once, you don't believe it. Hear it twice. Well, hear 20 times, it must be the truth.
Yeah.
And so there's that aspect of it, but who knows? That's one of the theories that we did go kapoof and we're living on Earth 2. And so because of that, I mean, there could be certain shifts in, I don't know, some, fill in the blank of something scientific-y, where somebody will actually slip through and then slip back in. I mean, you get the whole ufology, one of the theories of UFOs and aliens is that they are not from another planet, but they are from a different parallel existence or parallel dimension, and they slip back and forth.
I've heard that ghosts might be that too.
Oh, I love that one, where ghosts could pretty much be live people from another era, and they're, we hear them and we think, oh, they're ghosts, or they hear us and they're going, oh, it's ghosts. I mean, who knows? You could have been part of an episode of Ghost Hunters, in that parallel universe.
I love that theory.
Right? And, you can have some ghost hunter going, oh, wait, I have an EVP. It said, ouch, was that a ghost?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So now let's get into the truth of this urban legend of the man from Taured. So the truth actually is that something did occur very similar to this But it wasn't 1954, it was 1960. And it did occur in Japan. But as the story was passed on, I mean, I guess it became a game of telephone and became more fantastical.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, this was probably not a huge media story. So people kind of, oh yeah, there was this guy who showed up. He said it was from Taured. That country doesn't exist. He must have been something. Oh, this is fantastical. And people fill in the blanks with what they think they've heard. And, so it snowballs into what we just talked about. But the man from Taured was actually just a man named John Allen Zegras. He was a con man. He was a grifter.
Aw.
He traveled the world.
That's depressing.
Like, oh, really? There is no Santa? Really? So he would travel the world with ease using these fake documents from this country, Taured. And so what he would do simply is when he was questioned about the passport's authenticity, he would just invite him to, bite the officials, just read this on the bottom. And it said, Rik Uka Akra Negresi Habisi Twarp Tuwarpa.
Oh, well, that clears it up.
Well, okay, we got you. And I guess he said it with such authenticity and such conviction that they're like, nobody can make shit like that up. It must be real. So they would accept it. So he actually traveled all over the world with this passport. And it wasn't until he entered Japan in 1959 with his Korean wife, where they stayed for a while, and eventually they had money issues and, running out of money. So he started to write bogus checks in a total amount of like 200,000 yen, which is about $15,000 today.
Mm-hmm.
So they tracked him down and they finally arrested him in, 1960 for fraudulent checks. See, I'm telling you, my tongue does not work sometimes. And he was sentenced to a year in prison. So at this point, he finds out he's gonna be in jail for a year. So he tries to commit suicide. Luckily, he was unsuccessful. And he did serve his year in jail. But in the meantime, he came up with these fantastical, stories that he worked for the FBI, the CIA, that he was an agent for this, and he was part of this experiment. And they just said, yeah, buddy, you only got 6 months to go. Shut up, And so.
I love that, though. Like, the people back then had such a great, it's not, they didn't use it for good reasons, but like, you know what I mean? Like H.H. Holmes being so innovative with like how he kills, or like these con men that are like so ahead of their time and like conning people and coming up with these big elaborate theories and making the documents. I love it.
Oh, it's great. If you love stuff like that, you have to watch, there's a Steven Spielberg film called Catch Me If You Can.
That one stresses me out. I've watched it before because I'm like, he's going to get caught. He's going to get caught. Like, I could not be a con man because you have to have that fake confidence walking in.
Nerves of steel.
Yeah, and that's not me. I would hate it. I'd have like a heart attack just being so stressed out.
No, you're like, really? I'm from Taured. No, you're not. Okay, you got me.
Fine, that's it. I stole candy when I was 7. Lock me up.
So, again, it's, and he actually he kind of disappeared, into obscurity. He just faded away and lived this life, and that was it. So, and I guess probably because it was such a small story, and by the time people caught on to this, there was no real way of corroborating the story. They couldn't find him. Some of the people were probably dead by the time they got to this. And so, yeah, it's still, nonetheless, it is a pretty incredible story. And I think it's worthy of making this into a movie or something. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you think he spent the rest of his years just making fake IDs for kids to go buy beer?
Right. Hey, he had to make a living, right? There you go. He says, hey, you want to get that sixer of Pabst Blue Ribbon? I'll get you your ID,
Oh, that's so interesting, though. Yeah, no, I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Now, I got one more story, and this, it's a short one, but again, it has to do with this whole time, space continuum, universes, and all this kind of stuff. And it deals with time slips. Now, and there are several documented cases that obviously can't be corroborated because a lot of these stories are from one or two people. And, you don't know if to believe them or throw a straitjacket on them. You don't know. So there's no real physical proof. But this one story, which is fascinating, this occurred back in July of, it must have been 96, I think it was. And it was an off-duty police officer in the UK. And he was on his way to, I guess, this shopping area, and he was supposed to meet his wife at this one spot. And so he gets there, and I guess, they're supposed to meet at Dylan's bookshop. And so he gets there, and he's crossing the street. He sees Dylan's bookshop right in front of him across the street. He starts to cross the street, and right in the middle, he almost gets hit by a truck. It was a 1940s or 50s pickup truck, which he found kind of odd, but, hey, who knows? Probably, it's an older truck or whatever. And it had the name on the side of some old store that he'd never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he proceeds to cross the street, and when he looks up, it's not Dylan's anymore. It's called Cripps, Cripps. And he's like, what's going on here? And he turns around, and the street looks old. You got older vehicles, people dressed in 40s or 50s attire. And he's kind of wigging out here. And he's like, whoa, what's going on? And he turns and he sees a woman walking towards Cripps. And she's wearing modern day clothing. So he's like, okay, she must know what the hell is going on. And so he turns around, makes sure he doesn't get hit by another truck, turns back around. It's no longer Cripps, it's Dylan's again. And he's back in 1996. And okay, this is pretty strange. So he meets with his wife, and they're discussing, their day. He goes, the strangest thing happened to me. And he tells her the story. And he says, yeah, and it had some name on here that I'd never heard of. It was called Cripps. And at first she was like, well, he probably had made, one pint of beer too much or something. But when he says Cripps, she freezes and she looks at him and she says, this used to be a Cripps back in the 40s and the 50s. And pretty much that's the story. And he went on ahead and told other people. And now this is not urban legend. This is an actual case or a story that has been floating around for a while. And it is pretty fascinating.
See, I want to fully believe it because I love time slips. I think they're the coolest things.
Yeah.
But there was no signs or anything anywhere, or he couldn't have heard anything that would have influenced his vision, I guess.
Yeah, that's always a possibility. I mean, but when I was doing research, there's 10 cases where people, they go to this one guy, he went to a baseball game and he's watching a game that was from 80 years before. Another guy during war, he's on the battleground. He ends up 300 years in the past. Another person, another story was some guy ends up in the future with UFOs.
Wow.
So there's a lot of really crazy cases out there of time slips.
Do any present day time slips that don't go back, but you just said that there were ones that go in the future?
Well, that kind of really it's interesting. Because that opens up the whole rabbit hole, whole new can of worms. If somebody time slip into the past, say 50 years, and then they slip back in a couple of minutes later, okay. But if he slips back to the 1920s and stays there, what happens to our present time? Does that change the timeline? The whole butterfly effect. This guy, maybe 2 years later, he was going to discover the cure for cancer or prevent World War III. But now he's in 1920. He no longer exists now. And there's our demise. Kind of does really make the mind explode a bit,
Yeah, no, definitely. Have there been any, in the present ones, somebody's present day time slip, that stays in this present?
Well, you do have these cases. If you go on YouTube or you just Google this stuff, you'll find people who claim that they were, they're from the future or they're from the past and they're here now. And stories I've read where say, I came from 1940 and now I'm here and I'm stuck here. But because I ceased to exist then, here I am now. And the future would have been this had I stayed. It just blows your mind, these stories out there. But again, you don't know if these guys, belong in a science, lab to be studied or in a room with padded walls.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. Because how can we prove what we cannot prove? It's tough. There is one theory that time slips occur near black holes, where there's an intense gravity that causes a significant warping of its space-time. And that can cause a sudden shift in the observer's perspective or perception of space and time, and leading to the sensation of this phenomenon called time slip. One can also say, okay, what about deja vu or pansamnesia? That's also another thing. I mean, could that be a time slip where you go, whoa, you time slipped to the future and then you went back to the past. And then when you get to that future, you're like, whoa, didn't I experience this before?
Yeah, isn't deja vu so weird? It's like I go through periods where I get it a lot and then I won't get it for years.
Yeah. I mean, there must be, if it is a paranormal thing that is real, let's just put that, let's just say if it is, could it be that is triggered by something within your vicinity, a ghost or something, or an alien, or I don't know, somebody sprayed a certain perfume in the air that triggers it, and you time warp. I mean, it offsets time, or we just happen to be flying by a black hole.
See, I'm so boring because I go right to like the skeptical part. Like, is there like an environmental trigger, like you said, a smell or something you see or hear that brings you back to that moment, like a memory more? But I would love it to be like a paranormal thing.
Right. Well, it's not a boring thing. I mean, because it's a very practical approach. I mean, it's always good to question. We can't, run around this world going, yes, that's real. I mean, yes, that's real too. I mean, where would we be as a civilization had we not gotten past that and, gotten to science to answer some of these questions? I mean, lightning was supposed to be the hand of Zeus. We'd be going, oh, there's Zeus again. No, we know what it is. I'm not going to explain that one, but I know it's science. But it is fascinating. I mean, I love that stuff. I mean, we all want to believe. We should never stop wanting to believe. We need to ground ourselves in reality and ask ourselves, what could it be? Could it be this? I mean, I'm a UFO fanatic and I want to believe. And I have a strong suspicion that it is real. But I'm also going to sit there and go, yeah, but a lot of these sightings could easily have been experimental aircraft that the United States government is working on. Or it could have just been something normal, like an air balloon or a satellite that we misinterpret as a spaceship,
Mm-hmm.
Or you see an alien, you go, you don't just sit there and go, oh, it's an alien. It could just be your ugly cousin Ross, who just happened to swing by.
I love that you said about the time slip and aliens, though.
Yeah.
That's a fun one.
Oh, definitely. And I'm sure that can definitely be tied in together as well with a lot of, could they be causing these time slips? Could they be causing these interparallel dimension crossovers? Yeah, your head will just spin like The Exorcist, just thinking about this stuff, all the time.
It's so weird, though. It either goes from like really old garb, like old clothing that people see, or aliens in the future, but you never hear of like, a 1990s ghost being seen or, you know what I mean? It's like nothing super recent.
You know what? That's interesting, actually. I've never really thought about that. I mean, a lot of times, I saw a ghost and he was wearing a top hat and coat and tail. You're right.
Yeah, but nobody has pegged pants.
Right, exactly. He was wearing ripped jeans and
Jabots.
an OP t-shirt and Vans. He must be from the 80s.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Oh, God. That's true. That's true. I guess, you know what? It's not as incredible and fantastic and mind-blowing. It's not as dramatic, I guess. So
Yeah.
So basically that's what I got for you.
Oh, I love it. That was amazing. Now I got to go online and look up the Taured. You said there's pictures of the passports and the photo of the guy.
Yeah. They have his photo, I guess when they're taking him in and so forth. But yeah, it is a fun story. I mean, and you know what? We just talked about UFOs, ghosts, time slips and so forth. Let's keep that man from Taured story in mind, because we were all ready to believe it. When I first read it, I was like, oh, holy shit, this is incredible. Why don't we know more about this story? Because it wasn't real.
Faker. Got us all excited for nothing.
That's what I love to do. Let you go, well, hey. And nope, it's not.
Yeah, but thank you so much for coming on and enlightening me on all this stuff. I love it.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. It's always a lot of fun to be on your show. And, we love having you on the Film Joe podcast on as well, which you will be a guest very soon.
Yeah, I'm on the second movie. I'm about halfway through and I forgot how bad it was. So I have to force myself to finish it.
Which one was it? Refresh my memory.
It was the Reality Bites.
Oh, is it that bad?
It's so much worse than I remember it. I'm about halfway through and then I stopped. I'm like, I need a break. So I'll sit back down and try to finish it. But Clueless is just as awesome as I remember it. So
okay, all right, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna probably sit down and watch those tonight. So yeah, again, look forward to having you on the Film Joe podcast, and thank you so much for having me on your show. Again, it's always a pleasure and always a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, and everybody go check out Film Joe podcast on, go ahead, all your thing.
It is on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Boomplay. Okay, I forgot. Or you know what, wherever you get your podcast fix, that's where we are. But for sure, you'll find us on Spotify. And we have a YouTube channel as well, so you can check us out there.
Ooh. All right. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you need more content or just want to help support the podcast, head on over to patreon.com and search Ouch, Was That a Ghost? If you need some snazzy merch, you can find it at crowdmade.com by searching Ouch, Was That a Ghost? If you have a story you'd like to share, you can email it to ouchwasthataghost@yahoo.com. You can also find us on Facebook and all the other social media platforms under Ouch, Was That a Ghost?
Help me.
All links can also be found on ouchwasthataghost.com.